All right, so here's how to go from zero to millionaire in a pretty short time frame. By short, I mean 2 to 5 years. No one is going to have the same timeline, of course. Keep that in mind. Nothing is guaranteed. Times change, business models change, so on. But generally, if you have the right determination, your IQ is above 90 points. And even if you have some resources at hand, which you don't need or you acquire them with this method, generally you should be able to hit it in that 2 to 5 year time frame. So step one, figure out a goal. If you want to hit 7 figures per month, for example, or per year, you want to hit 83K a month. If you're at zero, that sounds unrealistic, but the thing is, to actually achieve 7 figures, you gotta have high goals. You know, you never hit all your goals. Even if you hit 90% of them, or like half of your goals, you never actually reach the 100. So make sure you set them higher than comfortable. You wanna push the limit, leave it open-ended, but find a sweet spot of where it's realistic. My goal was always to hit the 100K month. In the very beginning, it was actually a 10K month. The thing with that is you never actually break a point where you could see yourself achieving it. To hit 2 to 3K month is pretty easy. You could do that like within the first like few months, but to scale further felt impossible. Because I had my goal so low, I just thought like, oh, I just have to do like slightly more of what I'm already doing. But in reality, I had to do everything different. And you know, I wouldn't be able to surpass that if I set such a low goal. The only way you could get over that goal, over that limit, is by setting a higher goal. One that you know is possible, but it leaves room for growth. This forces you to grow, to look for answers you wouldn't find otherwise, and to really push the limit in what you think is possible. All right, so next step, once you have your big goal, you want to have an unfair advantage. Honestly, the best way to get an unfair advantage is to work for someone who already has a business that's successful, ideally in the business that you want to run. And by successful, I mean like they're achieving your goal in years or months, basically. So if it's millionaire, they're achieving 7 figures per month a year, at least per year. And once you have insight on that, it will like be so clear you don't have to test anything because you like cut everything out. Like you're like skipping the whole learning curve and you automatically jump to where that person is. In terms of knowledge, which makes it super easy. You don't need to watch any more YouTube videos or learn, you know, scroll through the internet to learn more information or find some secret sauce because you basically have the secret sauce. And not only that, but you have skills that you acquired from working with that person, skills that you didn't need your own money to test. You actually get paid to learn those skills, to develop them, and to learn how to make a successful business in exactly the model that you're trying to crack. So it's like 10 out of 10 the best way to do it. If you need help finding such companies, you know, get active on groups, get active on Twitter, Facebook groups, you know, especially if you're in e-commerce, you want to work with an agency or you want to work with, maybe try affiliate marketing companies, specifically e-commerce affiliate marketing companies. You could be an affiliate manager, and this will give you the skills of like, you know, you're seeing what media buyers are doing to generate traffic and stay within margin to be profitable. You take that. Once you build up enough reserves to actually start your own business and put your own money into it, now you also have the knowledge and the skills and somewhat experience to just copy and paste it over, which is super powerful. And again, the way you get to meeting those people is by, you know, network groups, try LinkedIn, Twitter, so on. Be able to sell yourself, which I know is a skill in and of itself, but it's a skill you're gonna have to learn anyways, whether it's through copywriting or verbally saying it. It's all sales. Any internet marketing is sales. Some other skills you can build is content creation, which, you know, organic drop shipping is a super profitable business. You have no advertising cost, and it's honestly a great business model, and you could reach millionaire with just organic alone. if you can create content, then you could start by creating content for other people, for other brands, or for other, for TikTok affiliate stuff. And then once you could actually crack that, then you could easily just find your own products, build your own brand, just do the same organic method that you learn and tested for other brands and companies and people. And yeah, it's pretty easy from there. And now that you own everything, then you have much bigger margins. You're not just a contractor or an agency. You could actually reach six-figure months by that point. And before you build a six-figure business, you want to actually make sure that your product or your market is large enough. You got a large enough TAM, which stands for total accessible market. It should be big enough to scale to 6 or even 7, 8 figures ideally. If the market, let's say it's like beauty, that's like $1 billion market, you just need to insert yourself, and you get, even if you get like 1% of this, it's like, tens of millions of dollars a year. Large enough where you could basically achieve your millionaire goal, even if you get less than 1% of that market size. Of course, good margins. Make sure the product and what you're selling makes sense. Make sure you have a good offer that's, one, entices the customer to buy right then and there, but also gives you a good enough margin where you could scale it with ads, with marketing budget, or if you do like organic, you pay influencers, whatever. Make sure you have that scalability, good margins, so you could recycle cash into the business and push it further. Now, beyond that, to really get some secret sauce and to get it fast, which of course, throughout your business journey, you'll get some yourself, you'll find some yourself. But you want to build a solid network, which is super crucial, kind of circling back to it, but it's along the way, you'll find your own methods to make things work. But if you have a network of other people who are also doing the same thing as you, slightly ahead of you, they'll also have some insight, some some secret knowledge or some personal stuff that they came up with that you could share. They could share with you. You could try it, and it's really a shortcut to achieving success. And that's that's kind of the main way it happens. To be honest, almost everyone I know who's successful, they all started basically around the same time I have. And that's how I know they're successful, because I became successful with them. And, you can look at any guru or any person who's made something online work. Doesn't matter what their market is or what their business model is. But at the time when they're starting and as they were scaling, they've all had some network. They all had an initial group of people who started the same time or, within the same years as they did. Slightly ahead, slightly behind each other, but all had the same goal, around the same scale or whatever. And having this network, everyone found out oh, this person's trying this, it's a different way than I'm trying it. Oh, he's doing this specific task in a different way that's saves a lot of time that I don't, or it's cheaper than I do. Just a more intelligent way of doing it. And if you're doing e-com, one person might have some sauce with content creation. Another person has good contacts, good suppliers that get you cheap and fast shipping with high quality products. Another one might have some he's really good at data or really good at media buying. He has some insight how to test. And this is super powerful because you could read stuff online, but most of the time, it's the people either don't know what they're actually talking about, they're just a guru that doesn't actually run the business themselves, or scaled way past a certain point, so it's what they're doing isn't good for a beginner or not good for your stage, even if you're not a beginner, or what they're doing worked in 2017, and it's still working for them because they scaled and, they're one of the key players of that, using that method, so they were able to sustain that because they mastered that. But if you're tapping into the market with that same strategy, it's not going to work for you. So you want to make sure you have that network. You're coming up with strategies together, and strategies that no one else is doing, or at least like it's not that proven where like 10 gurus are already making YouTube videos about it. You want to have strategies that it's like, oh, I'm trying this. It's like kind of starting to work for me. I'll test it for a few more weeks. Those were the best pieces of knowledge I ever got from my network. It's like that, the strategies that's like not really proven yet. Oh, it's like, it looks promising. We're going to try it, and we would all try it together or try it in a slightly different way. And because all like, 10 of us in our group are trying it, we all do it in a slightly different way and find the nuances and like really perfect it like a lot faster. If all of us are spending, a couple hundred a day testing, or, $50 a day testing, all different products, all slightly different kinds of ads and strategies, and then you guys all refer back to each other, it's very easy to refine it, and it's super fast. It's like, doing the same thing yourself, but like 10 times. It's like having 10 times of you all doing different things in different ways. Slightly different like mindset and the way your mind works, so you come up with something different. So it's super powerful. It's like your brain expanding once you have a large network. So absolutely crucial. No one who's actually achieved big success didn't have a network. Keep that in mind. Build that network. Get out there. Join Discord groups. Join Twitter. Fly out to the place you need to fly out to. Dubai, here in Bali. Canggu's still a great place to meet people, especially young who are getting started. Now, a realistic timeline of this whole process, I'd say 0 to 6 months, you are at least breaking even. You're not actually losing money. Everything you spend in the business gets you at least the same amount back. So you're not going in the hole. That should be achieved within 3 to 6 months, to be honest. If you're losing money after 3 to 6 months, you're doing something wrong. But yeah, that's realistic. Some people, of course, have products that work right away or whatever. But the people who achieve instant success are the people who spent years learning how to achieve instant success. Some people are lucky beginners, but again, don't expect that. You should be running at least at break even by the third to 6 month. From 6 months to a year, within that time frame, so by the end of that time frame, you should be at least 5 to 15K a month. Depends on your business model. If you're at ecom, ideally you're reaching that number, 15K a month, within a year. And 15K is a pretty easy number to hit, and that's in revenue, which in profit would be about like 30%, 1/3. 5K a month, which right there, if you're making 5K a month, or 5 to 10K a month, you could easily go out to a cheap place like Bali. Everything's pretty cheap there. So, or with that amount of money, you could join paid groups, private groups, and yeah, you get some insight that way. And you already have something that the general public doesn't have. You're already part of some groups that most people aren't willing to put the money to join, which that alone will get you ahead of most people. From 1 year to 2 years, let's say you're already doing like 5 to 10K a month, but you're at your second year, don't worry. You just haven't had the right guidance. But honestly, everything you need is within yourself. Not much people say this online. They'll say you need more information, or you need like, oh, it's this like product research strategy. Like, oh, it's like this specific type of hook you run on your ads or your content, and that's like the secret to success. And it's so much more than that, really. And you're not gonna find that out unless you have that network and actually following the steps that will make you become a millionaire. Me, I started back in 2017. Within the first 3 months, I'd say by the second month, I was already break even. I was doing Instagram influencers, about 2K a month revenue. It was just about break even, or like, made like $100 or something profit, whatever. But, I could spend more on influencers and buying shout outs without having to worry about losing money. But by the 7th month, I I built somewhat of a network. And what I've learned at that time was you should really test ads. And they were telling me, the people I knew were telling me, like, bro, why aren't you trying ads? Like, if this works with some small influencers, small like meme pages, I was actually doing meme pages, not even influencers, then you could take the same content you're having them run, push it on Facebook ads. I actually got mentorship. He told me how to run Facebook ads the proper way for testing at low budget and like scaling it from there. And basically within that like 6 to 7 month time frame, I went from like 2K a month at break even to 20K a month with 30% margins. Or I think exactly it was like that first month, by the end of the 6th month, I hit 15K and it was like 15% margin. Then the next month, I've learned on including upsells, doing a post-purchase upsell of the same product, which actually worked. And I went from 15K with 15% margin to like 28% margin at 20K. And then slowly started pushing from there. From there, it was pretty like linear, though it was like starting to roll off, like starting to stagnate and plateau a bit. And by the end of that year, I moved to Bali, and I met a couple dudes, a couple French dropshippers who really gave me some insight on scaling. And they told me you gotta scale fast. You gotta make sure you have products that have like good margin, good market. And Facebook likes when you scale fast. Like it really works. There's a lot of nuance to it. I can make a whole separate video on it. But yeah, there's a certain way to scale fast that they taught me. Again, very quickly, I crossed the 1K a day mark. And, by the end of that month, I was at 60K a month and then 100K a month. Pretty easy with that store. And that was by the year and a half time frame. Really, it goes in stair steps. Every breakthrough I had was after some plateau. I referred to my network. I traveled to where I needed to travel. I moved in with dudes who were doing a lot more numbers than I was. They gave me some insight like, oh yeah, bro, you just do this. And you wouldn't find that information anywhere else. You're not gonna find that on YouTube or anything. And it basically just worked almost instantly. Like you break through the ceiling and then it's very easy to scale from there. And it's like once you have that knowledge on how to break through that ceiling, then it's so easy to start from zero again. Like you could instantly, that's slowly how you become the type of person that can go from zero to 100K a month basically instantly. And yeah, it's pretty straightforward. Have big audacious goals, get some skill, find a network, maybe work for a company if you can that's doing the thing you want to do. Build some kind of unfair advantage that will help you propel, smash through ceilings, really reach the next stage, acquire enough knowledge to just be able to do it again and again. Any new business you try, even like different markets, like I've done not just e-com, but I've done like affiliate marketing, pretty much the same principles. You're just selling someone else's product instead of your own. And it's easy to smash through once I've done it with e-com. It really translates to basically any online marketing thing you do. If you do, you should follow that timeline. You should be within that timeline. Just remember, nothing is fixed. Nothing is guaranteed. The journey will be different for everyone. Depends on the time as well. Now AI is going to be a big thing, which is kind of changing everything. But it's also a big opportunity. So if you could tap into AI, really ride that wave, get good at AI, get good at making content, because it's super tedious to make content with AI. And there's a certain way to do it. So that itself is a skill to learn, which I highly recommend learning that skill. You could join groups on AI content, find some like secret groups or paid groups that not much people are in, and people are really good at making content in those groups. And that could be some sauce. That could be your entry point that will propel you or get you to 10K a month. You have that initial skill. You reached 6 figures with that initial skill. And then how do you scale that further? You just get better at running a business and get better at, pushing up margins, pushing up conversion rate, having better operations, And you learn that by having, a bigger network of people who are like in different businesses that, you'll figure out that it's kind of the same. Business is kind of the same everywhere. Same principles, I mean. And yeah, you'll meet those people by traveling out, which honestly, eventually you have to travel. You shouldn't stay in a small hometown. But yeah, once you travel out, that's really where you'll get like knowledge and how to scale your, a business that's reliant on the skill that helped you reach 6 figures. And once you meet other people doing 7, 8 figures, they'll teach you how to take that skill product, refine it into a 7-figure business. And yeah, not only are you a millionaire at the end of the year, but you are generating $1 million every year. Pretty straightforward, easier said than done, but those are the steps. And if you need help with e-com, if you're doing e-com, specifically e-com, then go ahead and book a call. I can help you out with getting started. Or ideally, if you're already like got started at some level and need help scaling further, then I could definitely help you out with that.